Hi, everybody. It's Miss Celeste, and we are on to our part 3 of week 1. This is ECE 602, and I am your professor um, tonight. And I'm really excited that we've now made it through. This would be the third video. Again, you are going to go through a series of 16 short videos just to elaborate a little bit about our course objectives. But before we get started, I do like to go through our assignments for week 1 of ECE 602, just making sure that you are accomplishing all of these. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the practicum and making sure that you know that you have a 3-month period to accomplish their portfolio and also the reflection. So there are different parts of this practicum that is needed on top of the 45 hours that you do need to have within a classroom environment. So please get those, information of where you're going to be doing the practicum, supervisors' names, and just so I have a little bit of information of where you'll be doing that so it can be approved before you start. So again, the school does need to be approved before you start, okay? All right, so tonight we're going to talk about identifying attachment patterns in children. So we're going to look a little bit about the temperament and attachment. We're going to look a little bit about effects of childcare and attachment and how we go about that process. And also the parents and caregivers' roles within that development. So the attachment styles, there's so many different kinds that we can experience and also, within our environment with different children. So we have the secure attachment, the anxious attachment, the avoidant, dismissive, right? The fearful, that children can experience. But going back to the secure, so we want children to trust, right? We want them to know how to communicate their feelings. We want them to cooperate and be flexible with behaviors and relationships, with other children and also with us. But some children don't come to school well prepared to do all of that. So that's why it's important that we as teachers create this safe environment where children can express their feelings, build positive attachments, build, healthy, most importantly, separation from parents, because we also have to know that this could be the child's first time away from parent or caregiver or dad or grandma or whoever that they are with most of the time. So this is a big, big transition. So attachment is something that is normal that children do develop. But what we don't want them to continue to have is that fear and anxiousness, when they are coming into our environment. We want them to be more independent. We want them to be more self-aware of their capabilities. We want them to enjoy school, right? But we have to build that safe environment first and that connection with that child. So they also get that feeling that this is a safe space and that we are here to help them. So we have to kind of go through this process in a slow manner so children are capturing everything that we're trying to give them, right? But let's identify a little bit of the temperament and attachment, really what that looks like and why attachment affects us and how it does, for a child. So we can better understand how to support that child. So attachment impacts, the sense of trust within the world. It really affects, the self-image of a child, the cognitive development, the ability to relate to others because they're very close-minded and just really focused on what is making them fearful, right? So how do we kind of open that door to let, us in and let that calmness start to develop? Well, I really think it has a lot to do with that connection in the very beginning and the time that we spend to do that. So I encourage you and I challenge you to reassess how that process kind of goes for you within your classroom. Are you allotted some time before a child comes into your environment, such as meeting them? Or do you just meet them on the first day? Because those are two different introductions, right? And possibly three, if you are allowed to kind of have visits before a child starts, which I encourage. It doesn't need to be a lengthy visit, but just an opportunity to see them, for them to see you, for them to be in the environment with you. I think really eases so much anxiety, and also for the parent, right? Because children are feeding off the energy that the parent is also giving. So we have to remember that. We have to, definitely support the parents in getting them to understand that their energy does matter, and them walking into the classroom in a positive sense is definitely going to benefit the child. I do understand that sometimes nerves, right, get the best of us, and we're also as nervous as the child, when we're starting something new. But definitely just, have a system in place so it can be successful for parent and child. So again, I challenge you just to think about how that process goes within your school. And if there's any areas that you think can be improved or reassessed, I encourage you to voice that. And you definitely will hear me say that a lot, just because sometimes different school environments may do things a certain way, but maybe you have another way that they could be doing it. And so I really want you to be open to sharing your ideas, your creativity, because that's what makes all of this work, meaning how our community together impacts a child. So if we're not sharing these ideas and we're just keeping them to ourselves, we could possibly be missing an opportunity to help a child that could really have benefited from your idea. Okay. So through these, quick videos, I definitely will be saying that often, because I really want to encourage you to share, because we all have creative ideas, and I really, just want you to share them more often than we do. Another good point is, clinically, there are many findings that highlight the significant overlap between attachment, affective temperament, and personality, and the support, the value of attachment. So when a child creates a solid, healthy temperament to attachment and a trusting relationship, they can let others in, and that's the magic. So in order to build that solid, healthy temperament to attachment and a trusting relationship that they were building with you, the teacher, they can let others in because they feel safe, because they feel heard, because they feel calm. They're able to kind of explore other elements that are happening within their environment, such as friends or new lessons or other adults for that matter, other teachers, that are in that environment. They're not just so closed off. So the effects of childcare and attachment. Well, you can't know exactly how childcare affects the attachment without considering, the countless, different areas of what each childcare kind of does, right? They all look different. So one, important aspect of quality care is the partnerships between the parents and the program. So if the, child care is really, really emphasizing and having many opportunities for parents to kind of come within, the environment, that's great. If possibly your program is not letting that happen as much, let's change that. Let's make some changes to kind of get them part of that environment. But when a childcare staff and providers develop a collaborative relationship, this really allows parents to, one, be more included. It also allows them to be more involved. It also really stands out possibly to a child because they're seeing their parent within that environment. So I just want to really encourage you to, again, reassess how this process happens within your school environment, which again can look different for all of us, but how we're kind of involving the parents so we can together help their child be successful. And then, of course, topic 3, so parents and caregivers' roles. So, of course, they have a big, significant role. They're the first teacher. They're the first person, that parent that child was around for a very long time, right? So it's definitely vital, a vital quality in the responsiveness that parents create when children are building, strong trust and, of course, loving relationships. The more that we involve ourselves in the hearing and cues and supporting, the more the child will trust, us, the caregivers, or the parent. So the attachment grows out of the sensitivities and the ability of the infant care teacher that is really able to read and communicate with that child. So I encourage you again to do a lot of observations as much as possible, just to better understand how to kind of approach that specific child, how that child learns best. And even I would even do some observations of the interactions with parent and child, because that's also another way that you're going to learn how they interact, and communicate, because then that's going to give you some more information of how then you can support that child as well within your environment, especially when they're new, because they may have certain routines that they do with parents. So again, the better that we learn those routines or communication styles, the more that we can then reach that child better. Oops. Okay. So we are now towards the end here, and I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. My email is here. I will see you at our next live session. But till then, take care, and remember to ask your questions. Okay, bye-bye.